interesting question to me is not how can I charge $5,000 for something? To me, the question is how can I make something worth $5,000?
Awesome.
That's more interesting
awesome.
to me.
I love that.
Rather than just sitting around like, well, it's easy for them to say they're charging $5,000 for whatever. It's like, no. Well, but what are you doing for that?
Right.
And so is that worth it? And so I kind of start from, my sister is an interior designer and her studio is upstairs. So we're in a building in downtown Mesa. Her studio is upstairs and my studio is downstairs. And then we have our custom framer is across the hall from me. So we're kind of all in the same building, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But I draw a lot from her world because I'll say to her things like, okay, in your world, what is somebody spending $5,000 or $10,000 on? What is that? What are they buying for that?
Right.
And so those are people that are spending money on their homes. What is $5,000 to $10,000? You would be shocked to know what the answer to that question is. Like $10,000 might be a sectional and not really a super high end one.
Right.
Mid-level
sectional couch.
It might be a light fixture. It might be a rug, but not antique rug.
Right.
It might be a portion of built-in shelving.
Right.
So when you start thinking of those things, then somebody's spending money on their house, and you think something that takes up an entire wall, that is, custom art.
Yeah.
That, our tagline is art that happens to be your family, that we've conceptualized, we've met, we've talked about. I've helped you pick out the clothes. We know exactly what it's going to look like. We've measured it. It's this custom piece of art.
Lots of effort
And time and care. And I'm going to do, and then plus my ability to envision and get in there and get your kids' personalities going. And then create something that when somebody walks into your house, they're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Where did you get that? And then they realize it's your kids,
Yes.
So that has a value. And so when I think about that, then that's a more interesting question to me rather than just how can I charge more? How can I get higher prices? It's like, well, how do I make what's worth it to my client?
Right.
How can I make it worth it to my client? What would I spend $5,000 for? What would I spend $10,000 for?
Well, now you brought that up because that's where I was going to go. That's where I've been going in my mind in that. At what point do you have to start looking at things through a lens that is not your own? Like I know what I would spend $5,000 on or $10,000 on. It's not extra shelving because I'm not in that bracket, right? So at what point do you have to look at it maybe from a more pragmatic standpoint and say, I have to start looking at things the way that these really super high-end clients look at, and they pull up in a $240,000 car, right? That I probably will never have, and I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But I don't see the world the same way that these people do.
Right.
So at what point do you have to switch and maybe like bump things up even higher if that's where you want to go? Right.
Well, and you've heard this before, but sometimes it's not how much money they have, it's what they value.
Right.
Truly.
Yes.
Because I have had waitresses that have saved. They come to me every 5 years because it takes them that long to save in between.
Up. Yep.
Yeah, and because they value it that much. And I've had people that are driving that $250,000 car that come in and are like, I can't believe your prices are so high. I'm not even going to use you. So it doesn't. And my sister, she designs houses, 40,000 square foot houses for billionaires. And not all of those people end up being because we refer back and forth to each other. But a lot
they don't value what you do.
Right. But I have some that do, know? And so it really is like, are they, quote unquote picture people, people that just love, portraits and are willing to put that on their wall. And some people just are not willing to do that. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that I hear a lot. It's like, well, I don't want to deal with rich people. They're all just all a pain in the butt and, whatever. And it's like, okay, people are people,
right?
Like don't be racist and don't be richest either.
Richest, okay.
Yeah, don't be richest because some rich people are the nicest, most amazing people in the world. And then there's some poor people that are jerks, and then some middle class people that are jerks and nice. And, people are just people. Right. So if you put that in your mind, I think we have to kind of overcome our upbringing, whether we were middle class or you're raised poor or whatever, and you think, well, I would never spend that. Then if you don't see the value in it, if you don't see that that's worth $5,000 or whatever, there's no way you can expect your client to see it. And you're not going to create that experience for them to where it actually is worth that.
Right. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, because you have to believe in what you're doing and who you are and
you
the value of your
right.
your work.
And you have to make it worth that. Like you have to make it to where your client is like, that was worth every penny. And yeah, it was expensive, but it was worth every penny.
Right.
And if you're not hearing that coming out of your client's mouth, then you might need to be looking at what is happening with your client experience.